Former US Secretary of State James Baker promised the late Mikhail Gorbachev in February 1990 that, in return for the USSR's agreement to NATO membership for a reunified Germany, NATO's jurisdiction would not, as Baker famously put it, move 1 inch to the east. In the 32 years since, NATO has scooped up every member state of the Warsaw Pact, 1/5 of the republics of the former USSR, and 4 of the 6 republics of the former Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. On top of that, NATO has promised membership to Ukraine and Georgia. That's not 1 inch to the east, more like 1,000 miles to the east. So what happened to Baker's pledge? Well, according to NATO, there was no pledge. The not 1 inch to the east, NATO claims, referred only to Germany. There are a number of holes in the NATO story. First, when Baker made his pledge, the USSR was still in existence, as was the Warsaw Pact. If the not 1 inch to the east pledge referred to Germany, then it would stand to reason it also referred to Eastern Europe. After all, Eastern Europe is to the east of Germany. As for the Warsaw Pact countries' supposed right to join NATO, the right of one country to join a military alliance doesn't supersede the right of its neighbor not to have a hostile military alliance on its doorstep. As for the triumphant claim that Gorbachev received nothing in writing, well, NATO is effectively admitting nothing it says is to be believed. The more interesting question is, could Gorbachev have prevented NATO expansion? The answer has to be yes. At the time of the Baker Pledge, the USSR had hundreds of thousands of troops in Germany and Eastern Europe. The USSR was under no obligation to pull them out. Soviet forces were in Germany under a 4-power agreement, and Soviet occupation rights could not be unilaterally abrogated. In Eastern Europe, the newly elected anti-Soviet governments would doubtless have demanded the immediate departure of Soviet forces. However, Soviet forces were under no obligation to go, absent signed agreements guaranteeing security for the USSR. Gorbachev could have insisted that there would be no withdrawal until every Warsaw Pact member pledged it would not join any military alliance nor host any foreign forces for a minimum of 50 years.